Attention gamers, for as long as I can remember, every time there's a new season or item or champion in League of Legends, there's always at least one seemingly untested change that feels like someone slipped it into the code like it was a Minecraft mod. If you've been playing this game for long enough, in addition to having a large addiction to Prozac, you probably also remember things like Chem Tank Drake, or how every assassin was getting indecent exposure charges before Season 12 because they just couldn't stop jerking their weens at the thought of how blatantly broken Eclipse was going to be on release. But you can't blame Riot, as they don't have a lot of devs or ways to test these changes. It'd be different if they had a separate PBE server where their own player base finds all these issues and reports them before they would go live or anything, but Star Guardian skin sales don't allow for such methods of testing, so here we are, buckled up to our spaceship about to launch into another shitfest, and this year it looks like tanks will be the ones doing the spanks, as items like Heartsteel are making them literally unkillable. But the lack of testing methods Riot has also means they would have had no way to know that giving this item absurd burst is also a bad idea. So today I want to show firsthand two specific champs that this is busty nuts broken on, by showing how even I could first time stomp with them. And sure, there's others that come to mind as well, like the Baus BFF or Puff the Cannibalistic Dragon, which for some people I'm sure feasting comes easy, but I was having trouble getting my meals. Which is exactly why I started using Factor. You see, as a manly man I aspire to look like this, and according to my reliable sources from jacked people on the internet, I know that abs are made in the kitchen. But Summoner's Rift doesn't have a kitchen, and it's hard to balance cooking and cleaning just so I can eat healthy with my lifestyle of being disgustingly addicted to a game I don't even like, so I've been looking more like this. But Factor reached out and said, why wait for New Year's resolutions to turn fat to fit? And I have to say, having a bunch of gourmet healthy meals just delivered to me that I can just pop in the microwave and not having to worry about dishes has me being consistent enough on a meal plan for the first time ever to actually start looking like someone who actually owns a gym membership. It's easy, you just go on their website, select the plan you want, what meals look dank delish to you, and then wait for your deliveries to come in ready to be beamed and eaten. It's healthy, tasty, and cheaper than what you'd be spending at Chipotle, so if you want a tasty route towards a six-pack, you can use my link or go to go.factor75.com and use code POGRAVDEC60, which will get you 60% off your order and also put some pretty pennies in my pocket. So thank Factor for sponsoring and feeding me, and let's get into the games. Now, speaking of getting fed easily, the first champ I want to show you this nonsense on is Shen, because word on the street is he can take these uncoordinated toddler daycare level 1 fiascos where everyone has their flabby cucks out and do the dash dab nay nay, light a hoe on fire, and then walk away knowing that somewhere there's a sad ass band-aid burning to death. So then I play on the 1v1 island, but luckily for me I'm getting pushed in like a turd during butt stuff, so I call up J3 and ask if his son can come over, to which he's like, yeah, as long as you slaughter an animal. And I'm like, odd condition, but I can vouch there will be both bulls and weird goat things there. And he's like, fine, but my son gets credit for the kill. And I'm thinking this is one passive ass aggressive family hierarchy, and then I realize I'm daydreaming about actually having a dad when I should be chasing this ghost sperm cloud breeder down the river, where you may be thinking my gameplay costed us a second kill, but let me introduce you to a few words that rhyme. Greed, demonstrated by this moron, followed by feed, which are like two peas in a hard stuck pod when it comes to this elo. Along that note, it doesn't take more than one failed gank to trigger a top laner into behaving like someone who definitely hung out with a coat hanger or two before he was born. And with him contemplating whether to be a board certified douche canoe and waste the next 30 minutes of 9 other people's time or not, I was freed up to head mid and show this walking pile of pasta how I have no clue how to combo with Shen Dash, but at least I'm not the least favorite arcane character and also dead, am I right? The Molten Rama Jamma has decided that at least for the short term he won't be running it down, so everyone clap for him as my ADC Urgot dies in river. And I know I sound emotionless, but I have a soft spot for stray kittens that will be killed if not adopted, so I spawn out of this one's anus and announce to these shitters that she is mine and I will be naming her Tabitha. They decide that a man who recently scored pussy is not to be messed with, so they run only for J3's murder-bred son to enter. So long story short, that little Sparta mommy will have a laundry list of things to cry about tonight. Then I head back up top to demonstrate to you the viewer this dope party trick where I mind control a fat ox into attacking me so that my little gang of bodyguard midgets all jump to my defense, but he pulls his own trick, which is to call the ghost of his dead ancestor back from the grave to make me jump so he gets away. Until 4 seconds later when the molten moron tries to kill one of my hired hoodlums. I now have Heartsteel and I can't think of a better way to show it off than to use Riot's Kill Yourself ping to tell Mr. Waternoose to run in like he's lost his marbles, which presents a perfect opportunity for a surprise Shenny boy is here situation, which has Samira shitting shrapnel all over herself as I charge up my first Heartsteel auto and give it to her before she gets sucked into the intestines of that fat crab. Yeah, there's a consolation kill in return via crybaby tactics as I engage in a rather anticlimactic slap battle to the death right after. Then they surrender because Bobby the Bull ended up leaving, and while I should end this video after showing one Heartsteel fight after teasing the whole video about it because that would be on par with how League YouTubers typically work, I figure I will make an exception and at least try to deliver what's promised this time. So game 2, I'd like you to meet Mr. Goo. And full disclosure, I typically avoid mucus at all costs, let alone evolved forms of it that look like they can bench more than me, but I have to say the dopamine rush of snot rocketing myself over a wall, grabbing the main character from 300 and then bashing his ass into a midget had me instantly hooked. Then I guess I need to pay attention to objectives, which is out of character for me as an ADC, as I'm used to just right-clicking and bitching about my role on Twitter, but these kids see what I'm trying to do and make me resort to plan B, which is strolling in like I'm lost, taking the damn thing for myself and then walking out. Bot now has lane priority thanks to my last gobbledygook, so the next time I see Gosu puckering her ass cheeks I airmail myself in for an additional snot slap and a kill. And the fact that my jointless body can absorb doing the high jumpies and landing from hopping over walls and shit, I'm all about taking this somersaulting shit stain, giving her a sticky hand so Morg can lock her up and the mall cop can read her the Miranda rights. We have a mid lane Obama, which is cool by me and apparently racist in 2022, but the real issue we should be united against is people who abuse Diana's for easy LP, because at least that's my focus, so I stick my poison plasma Zac penis in her ear hole and hey look who's on a killing spree. At this point I have enough in the piggy bank to get that broken bullshit item, but Professor Akali is chilling top and I feel like it would be fun to give him a taste of his own medicine and bait him into committing to something for a change. Mwaha, respond to that allegation bitch, but also can you give me those video ideas you promised your boy? It's dry for content out here. Anyways, I now have my steel heart, and while I know 2 is a party but 3 is a crowd is what you need to kill Diana in this day and age, so I come in to prompt what looks like a desperate criminal's attempt at escaping a bounty hunter, knowing there's a metric butt ton of crack cocaine and 2 smuggled exotic parakeets in his trunk, but eventually we tame the wild woman. Then the PMS prom queen is all like, hey Paul, let's go take a group poop on their ADC, and I'm all like, I'm all skill shots, and she likes to fidget a lot, but Morg is like, come on just try one, so I flop into nothing before following up fail numero uno by making 2 Gryffindor babies kiss while she kills my friend, and I finally remember I have an ult. The whole thing went pretty smooth, I'd say. Straight back mid because I really just want to introduce this lunar lunatic to a very special little minion, but I can't find the shitter. Ah, there he is. As you can see, Obama is piss his pants shaking, scared of getting one shot by a full tank Diana, and to be honest he should be, but Morg is back from the morgue and ready to join the game we are playing called Disrespect the Diana, which at this point is competing with Monopoly based off how long it took to finish. Somehow they are just waltzing into our base like they own the place and we just pay rent, as Diana seemingly disconnects only to be like, bitch, I can do whatever I want with this champ, and I'm thinking holy nun nipples, they are gonna push straight through our nexus, but not to fear, Big Nas X is here and that shitter was fresh off the new champ release press, so there's no shot in shit he's dying to any amount of enemies, so I catapult my gelatinous ass back into battle and then bounce on the remaining bitches until they all die. Then if I'm being honest, I was in the market for a blue buff because Facebook Marketplace is just full of sex offenders who want to touch my goo gooch when I catch a crime in the act, an attempted homicide by this girl in the goggles, so I hit her with the slime zone and stop her in her tracks. I have 2 items now, one of them being Steal Yo Girl's heart, so I'm less worried about death than the Grim Reaper himself, but unfortunately I don't know what to do with my hands as my co-workers are all dealing with the mortality that comes with not building Riot's newest tank items, so I just hang out in the middle seeing if Miss Smoky Donut wants to refry some beans with me, but the bitch is skittish and I'm worse at finishing than a flaccid dick, so we play an uncoordinated game of tag until Obama feels bad and ends it for me. There's a dragon coming up, my whole team voted that they want it and I'm not gonna be the one to disappoint them, so I do what I was raised to do, and that sky blast my gooey ball sack onto some unsuspecting tumble twat before having my fist bump request get rejected. But don't worry, Riot was like, not only did we make our newest champ gay, we also made him literally unable to lose a fight, so Gosu gets got it, and then that slobbering jacked grape follows suit. And it's not even worth giving commentary to this Pantheon's performance. Then I'm just trying to puke boogers onto these dogs in peace, but everyone has fight fetishes in the mid lane, and come to think it, I'm the freakiest of them all, so I come in bouncing with joy at the thought of cold-blooded murder. And sure enough, Diana was trying to say combo after a big wombo by herself, but that fails miserably, and I can't think of a better way to rub it and then to snot rocket myself onto her dumbass head. As you see, Akali is like a street cat flying around like a dumbass until it's just fat Frankenstein left for us to use as a game board for a quick round of soggy biscuit. At this point 4 of us are full tanks, so pair that with the fact that the tank team at Riot's really upped their rub-tug game this preseason, so basically it's gonna take us 6 days and a small army to kill any of us, unlike ADCs who still can't exist in our presence as we eventually take down Mama Moonho. And then I'm faced with the decision of, do I stay for 2 more weeks to kill this Mundo, or do I return home to help the boys defend against Tarzan's wife, who is trying to slip things in the back door? I chose the second, but clearly my presence was not needed. Now here is where you will start to see how League is basically bumper cars and tanks have the most padding, as I'm jerking off this flapping wildebeest when I learned firsthand that Mundo goes where he pleases is a real thing, and straight into Dragon Pit is where he pleases, but there's not a shot in hell he's dying, so I opt into jumping onto one of the other shitters first before Vayne looks at me and says, "You're a jungler, get back in that pit," so I cosplay one at Worlds and get the objective stolen from me before hitting the bounce. Tumble Tits is spouting some shit about true damage, and all I know is that I don't like it, but it works out when she dies next to my rebirthing glob goose and we get the ace. The shit stain from Sparta watches us slap his statue and then takes a nap as I see 4 of them are dead, so I'm like, brothers, we need to be focusing our right clicks on this giant glowing clit before they all wake up, or shit's gonna get real here. But they are like foaming at the mouth saying they want kills like brainless zombies, and so what would have been the win turned into all the non-tanks on my team dying. So I'm all like, fuck this, I'm outie, but then I see Big Mumbo Jumbo ain't dying, so I head back in, but then Pantheon shits himself out of the sky, so I peace out, but then I want to fight alongside the new champ, so I'm back in, but that looks bleak, so I'm out, but then he somehow isn't dying, so I go back in, but then he dies, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm out. Long story short, these fights allow you to mess up 657 times as a tank and still survive, and Mundo was going to try and prove that here. And I knew that as long as I killed this trolling true damage Tumble Tits, there was 0 chance I would be dying, and eventually we just stomped down like their nexus was a wine glass and we were a bunch of Jews getting married, and with that I think it's safe to say, like always, Riot, what the hell were you thinking? Check out this video on this one weird thing I noticed Korean challengers are doing in solo queue if you haven't, and I'll see you in a few days.